Hey, what's up, G? Just waiting for folks to roll in here. And we will get started. Oh, I didn't share on Telegram and Twitch. Let's see here. Boom. And then thank you, Android. Could be a ASMR stream, yeah. Hey, what's up, Wayne? Let's see. This is my softer, more thocky keyboard. I've got like an aggressive one that I break out from time to time. And then I've got a couple others that I need to lube the switches for. And then I've got one that, here, let me, I've got, a couple flat Apple keyboards, obviously. I also like the way this one sounds. It's a Chinese brand. What is it? Ola. Pretty cheap on Amazon, but I do like the way that it feels. My other mechanical keyboard is a IBM Model 5 like redo. I want an OG, but it's very expensive. Although keyboards are like mattresses, right? Like especially for someone like me, I spend 8 hours a day on them, so it might be worth the investment. So we're gonna give it a couple minutes, let people trickle in until ready to go there. We can talk mechanical keyboards or music or sports or anything like that. Keyboards are like mattresses I bang on. Hey-oh, got them. It's true. It's very true. Keyboards are like mattresses, I thought. Get some water here. Almost out. Should have refilled before stream. I'm rocking the Dymo hat today. This is Dymo Pay. For those that don't know, it's dymo.com. Using them for a couple side projects that you will hear about soon, but they're doing a fantastic job with on-chain payments. And it's a sick hat, comfortable dad hat. For sure. We're about on a 30-second delay right now, by the way. So if I don't immediately respond to your chat message, just know, and it's true across platforms. I know there's a few builders in here, both on Pine Tree and Den, but there's a 30-second delay on YouTube too. So YouTube's slightly ahead of Den and Pine Tree, but not by much. Den and Pine Tree are pretty much even in terms of delay. All right, so let's get started. So today we're talking native onboarding. As a reminder, just want to open the stream with what you have stumbled upon here. Native is an on-chain city, economic simulation, AI, playground, agentic economy, whatever you want to call it. I call it native. It is where people and AI agents called dots come together to chat, play, and earn. So it's a very large thing. Go check it out at native.fun if you want to learn more. But it brings a lot of the primitives and building blocks that are on chain, from Farcaster to AI agents to tokens, etc., and brings them into a cohesive experience. And so that's fundamentally what native is. Increasingly going to start progressively showing more and more of the product itself, not just talking about what it is. So today we're going to take a look at onboarding. So this is before I kind of move in further, I do want to say that this is a live demo. Everything you're seeing here is live, it's code, etc. And so there may be bugs and things like that. We're about 80% done with the onboarding piece here. So, forgive any mistakes or bugs or typos or anything like that that comes up. This is a work in progress. You're not going to see, there are going to likely be some changes between this and the final product that goes live. But what you're seeing here is pretty darn close to the end result for the MVP of native. And so, the flow here is that someone learns about native and wants to get involved, and they click sign up, right? They click enter the city, whatever the CTA is, from native.fun. And this is the first screen that people see when they start onboarding. It's got a little bit of motion at the top. It's a welcome to native sign. But then there's kind of explainers down below. You'll see 4 steps here. These are not numbered on purpose, namely because a few people will go, they'll have different entry points and things like that, which you'll see along the way. Right now I am signed in as my personal wallet, which you'll see. And so what is native? There's a little explainer here. How do I play? There's a little explainer here. And these are teasers. These are not meant as like end-all instructions. That's actually going to be part of the game experience itself, or part of the product experience itself, which you'll see in later videos. But these are kind of teaser intros. So what is native? How do I play? And can I make money, right? And so that a lot of times that's what people are wanting to know. If someone has more questions, I've actually included the native memo directly into this onboarding experience, so they can deep dive without leaving the onboarding experience. One thing that you'll see for those that are product builders, and for those that are curious about what the decisions that go into building native, one thing that you'll see, from me, is I like keeping people on page. I don't want them to leave. I don't want them to turn out. I want them to be able to get the information, to make the decisions that I want them to make right here on the page. And so if someone has more questions like, hey, how does this all work? Like whatever, I give them the information needed to make that decision, right here on the page, without having to like open a new window, open a new tab, which increases likelihood of churn. And so, these are, some of the kind of teasers and what's going on this front, piece. So when I click next, I'm actually starting the onboarding process and want to talk through some of that. So surprise, I own a bit of native, but this is my native balance. And so, this is the step that we're on. The first thing that you need to do in order to enter the city of native is actually own native. And so, people, that own native, it'll show your balance just like it does here. There's a little explainer for what native is. So if you're coming in, maybe a friend told you about this, maybe you saw a tweet or a cast and you're like, okay, I've heard a lot about native. I want to get involved. What is this? During onboarding, there's actually an explainer for what even is the token, right? And so just like dollars in the US or euros in Europe, native is kind of this digital cities, currency. And so, the minimum to enter is 1 million, and you'll see that in a moment. Right now, I'm going through as if you have been following native for a while. Thanks, Tom. S-tier onboarding. If you've been following native for a while, maybe you have some native already. You likely have a passport already, etc. You're likely already on Farcaster. And so this is kind of the baseline onboarding. I'm going to go through with a fresh, wallet here in a moment and actually show what it looks like for a new user who may not be as familiar. But I could change wallet here, which is like disconnect and then reconnect my wallet, etc. And then next here, native is not just built on Farcaster. It is a full-fledged Farcaster client, just like TBA, just like Recaster, just like Uno, etc. Except it's not a feed. It has a feed, but it is not fundamentally a social media product. It is a brand new type of Farcaster client. And so a native account and a Farcaster account are exactly the same. Native account actually decorates the Farcaster account with more information that's native specific, but it is built on the Farcaster protocol. And so if you already have a Farcaster account, it automatically brings that in for you, based on the connected wallet address. So your wallet address that is connected to native, we use that address to look up a Farcaster account that has that address verified. If it finds that account, it pulls it in here, and you can see, my PFP. This is directly. This is not hard coded. This is directly from the Farcaster protocol, and so from here, I can go to the next step, which is passport, which is the NFT that is utilized for entering the city of native. There's a little glitch here, but that's actually on my passport, not because I was the first passport minted, not in onboarding. And so if you have a passport, we automatically, again, this goes to the chain, right? This is not like a centralized database or anything like that. Native is built on Farcaster and these on-chain primitives like here in NFT. So in these 4 simple steps to get into native, you see the direction here. You see that we go from a very crisp, welcome screen to an on-chain primitive that is a token, to an on-chain primitive that is a decentralized social account, to a on-chain primitive that is an NFT, and then I can enter the world. Not yet. So, let's say that I am, onboarding with a different wallet. What happens here? So in this wallet, I have 1 million native already. If I didn't have 1 million native, I could actually buy native right here in onboarding. Without leaving, without going to Uniswap or Matcha or whatever, I've built it so that you can onboard not just USD to the chain, like, in kind of on-ramp, but you can also buy your Ethereum, buy your native token right here. So the goal here is I'm building first and foremost for crypto natives, people that are aware of native and, that are interested in what I'm building with the agentic economy and things like that. But I also want it to be a place and a product that you could say, oh, this is really dope. I'm going to send this to my cousin. I'm going to send this to my friend. I'm going to show this to someone at the coffee house or someone at, the gym or at church or whatever it may be. There's something interesting here for people to really latch onto. That is the goal with the onboarding here. And so here you can see, again, a million native. And I'll show you kind of an empty wallet later. Here you're checking for a native account. This wallet is a brand new wallet that I spun up and sent some native in Ethereum into. And you see here, like, hey, you don't have a native account. Native is built on Farcaster, an open social network. Your account is shared across Native and other Farcaster apps. When I create a new account here, I am actually onboarding to Farcaster. I am not on the Farcaster app. I am not on TBA. I am onboarding directly to, let me use my Warplet here. I am onboarding directly to Farcaster. So if I type in onboarding via native here, hitting onboarded, hitting a limit here, should probably show a status there. But if I do this, then native testing 10 is already taken, right? And this is searching across all Farcaster accounts. And so eventually you can find, and of course the debug is not going to be in the final process. You can see this is live code. I'm actually actively building this. But you can see it's searching across all Farcaster accounts. And so when I create this account, I'm being onboarded to Farcaster. It's asking me to sign a transaction, which I will do. And what's happening here is that it's calling the contracts on Optimism, which are the FID and onboarding contracts for the Farcaster protocol. It's creating my native account, which is a Farcaster account, it's automatically doing some things like following the native accounts, following myself. It's uploading my PFP, all of those types of things. And so, once this is done and it propagates across the network, we can actually come and see, which it might not be done yet, but, you can start to see, right? Like here is the account that is being onboarded. And so, as I refresh it, you'll start to see, I followed 4 people now, right? Who have I followed? Obviously the native and native associated, accounts, including Birthday Labs and Pains. The native product is also a Farcaster client, which is really important to note here. And so may actually be hung, and that's okay. But we're going to move forward, and then it's going to check for a passport. Again, an on-chain primitive. It's looking for a passport, and when it doesn't find one, guess what? It's going to invite me to mint a passport, and create a passport right here. Super easy, a lot easier than maybe some of you have gone through in order to mint your passports, etc. And again, this is all contained in one straightforward, boom, 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 easy to use, kind of flow. And so just like anything else, I can sign my passport and then continue. And that's a cute little guy with a passport. I'm not going to mint it here. I'm just basically going to send myself 0.01 ETH. But that is kind of the onboarding piece. Can I please explain some more about Pains and mini app creation in native? No, not today. Hey, Alexi on Den. Good to have you. Thanks for joining us. And so this is the onboarding process. The goal here is to have it as streamlined, it is simplified, and as straightforward as possible. Super easy 4-step process with each of the primary on-chain primitives being the native token, the Farcaster account, and then you see here that it has loaded, and then you know, the NFT. It's going to ask me to create one here, but you see that it's bringing these on-chain primitives together in an easy to use, very straightforward you know, onboarding process to the city of Native. And so happy to answer any questions. You know, if I am going to talk about it later, or if for strategic reasons like the pains question, I'm not gonna, you know, kind of talk about it right now, then I'll just let you know. But happy to answer any other questions, and talk about, you know, kind of what else is on people's minds. So hopefully that was pretty clear. Hopefully you get excited about the ease of use, and really building this for consumers of all shapes and sizes on chain. So let me pop over to some of the chats and see what's happening. Again, on YouTube, Twitch, Pinetree, and Den right now, I am preferring questions off of Den and Pinetree. And then we'll happy to, you know, kind of chat off of YouTube and Twitch. One more thing while you all are catching up, and kind of because again with these streams there's always a delay, but you know, while you're doing that and typing any questions, etc. You know, this is the Connect wallet. So if I connect a brand new wallet, let's say, you know, actually let me select a different wallet. One that that, you know, doesn't have any, there we go. J.Fin, what's up, J. by the way? How does this product interface with the Farcaster client once onboarded? Can we cast from there? That is the brilliance. A Farcaster account is indeed, oh, we didn't, it's client agnostic, right? So you can absolutely onboard via native, and then cast in the Farcaster client, or even the base app, or, you know, Recaster, or Uno, or any of these other kind of Farcaster clients. When you onboard to a Farcaster account via native, that Farcaster account is not only applicable here in the city of Native, it's applicable anywhere a Farcaster account is. That said, you will start to see that you could also cast from the native client. Like I said to start the stream, the native product is a full-fledged Farcaster client with a twist, and that twist is a pretty massive one, right? With the AI agents, the graphical interface, etc. It's like a visual Farcaster client that brings in tokens, NFTs, and AI agents to create a cohesive ecosystem. And so you can absolutely cast from any client for Farcaster. In your settings, you'll have the private keys and things like that, and then you'll be able to sign in with your Farcaster account anywhere that accepts Farcaster sign in. And so here, this is what it looks like. Great question, by the way, J-Dot. If anybody else has any subsequent questions, feel free to throw it in the chat. This is what it looks like if you're onboarding into, let me get rid of the error messages here. This is what it looks like if you're onboarding into native without native, right? So right here, I can, you cannot enter into the world right now, Bombadillo. We're getting closer and closer to V1. So the get native button will actually allow you to swap for native. You can refresh your balance, you can change to a different wallet, etc. But if you don't have native, it will let you buy native right here. By the way, if you remember, and I can skip forward because I've visited this step already with a different wallet, but when I mint my passport, for those of you who were here for Monday's stream, when I mint the passport, half of that mint fee goes to buy native, right? So for every user who goes through this onboarding, they're minting a passport. They're also using half of the mint fee in order to buy native. So for every user who onboards, all native holders will benefit by nature of the native by minting a passport, much less as people buy the native token during onboarding. So there's a couple of points just here in onboarding that all native holders benefit, which is pretty cool kind of flywheel for onboarding as well. So you are literally incentivized to invite other people into native, because as they join, they're not only buying native here, they're also buying native with their mint, with their passport mint. All right. Other questions? Some good ones so far. Relative to, say, FID, how important is being early as a native user, if at all? Or maybe you can't say yet. So when you saw the passport being minted, you see stamps that are here, and this is a bug actually, but you see stamps that are here. Those stamps matter more than your FID. So the first 10,000 users receive a pioneer stamp, and so that will matter, because dots can recognize stamps because they are on chain, and I can actually show that here. Let's see. Let's do instance, and I don't know whose this is. Copy borrow. Metadata, right? So on your passport, if you've minted a passport, there is stored on-chain, decentralized, permissionless, composable. Anybody else could build anything on any of this that they want. I can come and see the stamps for a person, which means that dots can too. So dots can query the chain, including this data. Yes, the Farcaster username is here, but so is the FID. But these stamps are kind of what signifies what's early, what's not, etc. Pioneers is early. So if you have a pioneer stamp, which if you've minted a passport, you have a pioneer stamp. We're not at 10,000 passport holders yet. But if you've minted a passport, you have a pioneer stamp. You are early. It does matter. Dots will be able to recognize that. And then additional stamps in the world. So I think there's 6 total right now. So, as you have as you collect these stamps, actually there's more. There's 8 because I issued 2 for IRL meetups as well. But as you collect these stamps, it will matter in the world and unlock certain things, both from dots and in the world itself. And so it is important to be early, but your FID doesn't matter, because right now, if I were to look at native testing, who we just onboarded, 1.4 million FIDs have been issued because they're sequential. 1.4 million FIDs have been issued. That doesn't matter and map to how early you are to native, right? Like you could be FID 4 and be late to native. You could also be FID 1.6 million and be early to native, right? So stamps are the kind of benchmark there, because I know when you join the city of native, and that's what it means to be early. Another good question, J-Dot. Thank you. Any others? Let me pop over to Twitch. What's up, Twitch? One dude over there holding it down. No questions. YouTube. Nope. Den. Oh, thanks for the tip, Sophie. Over on Den. Appreciate that. Any support goes directly, obviously, to support native. Both directly and indirectly. And back to Pine Tree. I didn't change my my text here. Gotta change my text. It's basically too late now, but that'll be okay. Better late than never, right? One final question, actually. The dev, I think Disky, who interfaced native into his app. Does that mean the onboarding interfaces with other apps potentially too? Onboarding, no. But stay tuned for the last stream this week. We're going to talk about that question. But the short answer is yes. Very soon, I'm going to be looking to work with devs who want to build, within the native ecosystem, which is going to be a fun thing. I was talking actually. So for those who don't know, last Friday there was a Farcaster Dev Day. It was invite only. I was fortunate enough to be invited. Great day with Dan Varun and the team. This was a day after the Clinker announcement, or 2 days after. But was able to spend some time with some of the Farcaster devs like Horsefax and Sloak and Deodad, and was explaining what I was building with native to them, and they're like, that's awesome, right? Like, it's a really cool kind of thing. I can't wait to talk about it. I haven't really talked about it publicly yet, but you will see here in the next couple of days what I've been cooking for native the client, which is pretty fun. So. But the onboarding will not interface with other apps. Native itself will. And that does kind of dovetail ElectroSurf with your earlier question about pains. We'll talk about that. So. Any other questions? The devs want native. The devs do want native. Disky actually was one that reached out to me, proactively. I hadn't even asked. He's like, "Hey, can I build on native yet?" I said, "Here's some of the on-chain stuff," and that's kind of fun where. Because all of the primitives here are on chain, including the metadata, etc., it means that people can build whatever they want on top of native primitives, passports, the metadata, obviously the token, etc. You'll see soon that there's a lot more that is going to live on chain than just those primitives, and devs can permissionlessly and composably build on any of that, and Disky took it upon himself to do that, and the result is pretty cool. Another question from Bombadillo. When you open this interface and it shows that you get native, does it refer your swap mini app when you make swap? Not quite sure what you're asking there, but it does not use the native swap mini app, no. if that's what you're asking. It uses 0x under the hood. Our friends over at Matcha, they've been fantastic to work with. It uses the Matcha API kind of under the hood. Hope that answers your question. Happy to answer a clarifying question if that wasn't quite it. Let's see. Any others? Doesn't seem so. Let me check. Oh, thanks for the tip on Den. Appreciate that. Nothing on Twitch. Just a spammer. Maybe I'll delete my Twitch account. How about that? Take that. YouTube. Nothing. And Pine Tree. I think we've answered all the questions. So I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Happy to hang around for a couple more minutes and answer any questions or chat about whatever you guys want to talk about. Not just native, but anything that might be on your mind. I'm happy to chat for a little bit. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in and checking out. I'm gonna take a break tomorrow and then hope to be back on Friday, I believe it is. Probably shouldn't show my calendar on stream, but that's all right. Believe we'll be back on Friday, and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks everybody for joining again. Thanks for the questions. And welcome home. All right. See y'all. Thanks for doing these. Super helpful. Yeah, man, for sure. You got it.